But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave a role model even to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in this day, we remember the role model that was given to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ. You have in Ibrahim alayhi salam the best example, the ideal example for whomever wishes for God and the day to come and the real life. وَلَلدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ هِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ. The life that will end our existence, the one that we will live permanently in, that's the real life. And the example for us to follow, to get the best in that real life, is Ibrahim alayhi salam. So what did he teach us? What did his life teach us? And why do we every year, only 2 holidays for those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هُوَ الَّذِي سَمَّاكُمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. He's the one who decided that your name as a nation, those who follow his lineage of prophets, concluded with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, would be called Muslimin, the ones who submit. In fact, as his life goes on, and the day that what happened today, we commemorate the sacrifice of Ismail alayhi salam. The conclusion and the epitome of sacrifice is what we celebrate today. But it didn't start with that one sacrifice. What we celebrate today is a 13-year-old young man having no doubt that this life is nothing. Having no doubt that if he has talents and passions and aspirations for life, and then sometimes he needs to sacrifice in order to achieve what's right, in order to do what's right, he's willing to do it. To the extent that when God asked him and his father to do something that made no sense, it had no reason, there's nothing to do it for, except that Allah asked him to do it. Earlier when Ibrahim was asked to be thrown into the fire, there was a reason. He did something right, he called his people to what's right, the king didn't like it, the authorities didn't like it, he's being forced into either changing or being executed. He accepts to be executed. And he's freed, and he's saved from execution. And there was a reason to stand up and to potentially face execution. But now there's no reason. There's no understandable reason. Why is this happening to me, O Allah? The question all of us will soon, if we haven't already faced in our lives, that the devil dances in front of us when something happens we don't understand. Why is this happening to me, O Allah? And if there was any time for a human walking on earth to ask, why do you want me to do this? Why do you want me to submit to this? It's Ibrahim alayhi salam being told to slaughter the son he waited for 80 years. 80 years. 80 years praying and hoping for a son. 80 years sacrificing and migrating from land to land to do what God wants him to do in the land. We've been in one land, asked to do one thing, and we don't want to change the way we do. And he was asked to do it in 5 different homes. He sets up his home, he sets up his shop, he sets up his message, his organization that he's going to try to serve God through, then he's forced to leave. All the time asking for a son. Someone that, these people aren't believing in me, let me leave a legacy of a son to believe in me and to do the message you want. No son comes. At 80 years old, the son comes. He reaches the age, he's rocking him to sleep one day, and then he goes to sleep himself, and he sees the vision. Take him to a land that has no water, and no plants, and no food, and no people, and leave him and his mother there. And so we switch scenes, and we'll come back to when Ismail was 13 years old. We switch scenes to the woman that becomes the epitome and example of patience and sacrifice. And the key trait, the key message of today, of course, patience and sacrifice, like we've been talking over the last 10 days. But the key is trust, the wakil, the infinite trustee, The one whom you're willing to give the keys of your life to. Al-Wakil. Because what Ibrahim a.s. said when he was being catapulted, about to be catapulted, they're building a building outside of the city to burn him. For 4 months he's in prison, waiting for his execution. And all he says day and night is Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. And here we are watching the news, with a tyrant killing our brothers and sisters. And a man standing up and saying, all these Americans that are Muslim don't deserve to lead. And a young man being arrested for being inventive because he's Muslim. And a community that has an open door to call to Allah, an open door to make bridges, and everybody's hesitant and stagnant. And we watch all of this. Everybody doesn't want to change, and we watch all of this. And all we can say is Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. So Hajar, our beloved mother, Hajar, who God granted Ibrahim a.s. Ismail through, she's taken to the desert. And she's being left alone with her nursing son by her 80-some-year-old husband, who's supposed to be the messenger and prophet of Allah, the leader, the teacher of the world, leaving them in a desert. All she has is a little bit of water and a canteen. To who are you leaving us? To who are you leaving us? And he doesn't know what the answer is. He doesn't know to whom he's leaving them. So he doesn't answer. And he keeps going. And she runs behind his camel as he keeps walking, as he keeps riding away. To who are you leaving us? And then she looks up and she says, Allah amaraka bidalik. Did Allah order you to do this? And then he nods his head, yes. Not knowing if she's going to start questioning. But she proves to us what a wife and a mother who wants to raise those who will change this world. We raise our arms to the heavens and we say, our sisters and our mothers, when they're pregnant, they say, make this young man be for you, O Allah. Make him be the most successful, the most amazing. We want them to get the straight A's and we want them to be the examples. And then when the test comes, a small test, give a day of school for Eid. A small test. Allow them to pray on time in class. Teach them to go and feed the hungry so they can see what the hungry look like. Teach them to go into neighborhoods that may not be the most pleasing for you so that they understand what those who don't have look like. Remind them of the death that's happening, even though death is not a pleasant subject. Instead of them killing using video games, show them what the tyrants are doing to those being killed. We want to shelter them. But she is told your infant son will sit in the desert. And her answer is, إِذَا لَنْ يُضَيَّعُ. The wakil, the trustee, the one I gave the keys of my life to, he will never allow us to be lost. So she sits and she waits for the help that she knows he'll bring, and it doesn't come. And her lips dry, and her breasts dry. She can't nurse him anymore. He starts crying. And any one of us who had a firstborn, who heard that first cry when we couldn't help him with something, whether he was sick or she was tired, and we couldn't do anything about it, it hurts inside, it tears you apart. And this mother who waited for a son, and knows that he could have been saved had his father not left him. She hears him dying of hunger and thirst in front of her eyes. She doesn't lose faith. So she starts running from mountain to mountain to look for the help that she knows God will bring, and it's not there. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and the cries get louder and louder, and the hyperventilation starts, and the dying of the baby starts to be heard. And all of a sudden he stops. No sound. Her heart drops. Her lips are dry. She's got dust all over her from running across the desert. She doesn't know what happened. What happened is that the highest creation that is of non-mankind came down to the feet of Ismail to provide a source of water that will last for eternity, for us to drink from when we go to make pilgrimage to the place of the house of God. And he made that so that people who are coming from a flooded Yemen, a tribe named Jurhum, would come to be in that valley because it has water. And they will raise Ismail to be the one who the Arab lineage of the majority of Arabs today are from, so that Muhammad ﷺ would be from his lineage. So that the one who brings the final message to mankind would be coming from the land of the blessed house. And then her trust is reignited, because it was never lost. So later, after he was saved from that death, Ismail, they're told, Ibrahim is told to take his life. After he had to abandon him. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. بارك اللهم على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. As Ibrahim is being told to take the life of his son, the one he waited for all that time, he goes to offer him the option. And Ismail, like his father, handing over the keys of his life to Allah, not understanding why it's happening, says, do as you will. And when the time comes to do it, he can't look at his father. So he puts his face down on the ground, waiting for the slaughter. And his mother is standing by the side, accepting the order of God, none of them understanding. And she looks away. And Ibrahim a.s. takes the knife. As the tears, certainly, the tears are rolling down his cheeks. The son he waited for 8 years is killing. And he starts to cut his neck. The knife won't cut. The ultimate test. Because he has to be an example for us until the day of resurrection. To do as we're told of spreading the message. To do as we're told of standing up for what's right. To do as we're told of patience and sacrifice for the sake of God. Trusting in Him. He had to show us that that example for the rest of time was willing to do what was undoable by any human. And God wouldn't want us to do it. But He wanted him to do it. To show us that He would do it as a test. To show us the example. That He's willing to go the distance. Not only willing to give His own life. Not only willing to give everything. His home and His wealth and His business. But even if He had to kill the son He was waiting for. The hope of legacy. And once he believed. Once he trusted. Not only did he not kill his son. Not only did God give him his son back. But He gave him another son. Ishaq. And He made him live to see the third, a grandson, Yaqub. And he saw them all raised to be prophets. And then he passes away. God raises him to the seventh heaven. And Hajar with him for her sacrifice and her patience and her trust in God. And what we need now, if we're going to leave today excited and celebrating, because this is a day of celebration. Yes, there's sad news in the world. Yes, all the things I'm telling you sound hard for us to exemplify. But the celebration today is the rebirth. Arafah, our beloved Sallallahu said, whoever makes the pilgrimage, as they're descending from the Mount of Arafah, their book of deeds is like the baby when he's born. And it's not just for the pilgrims, inshallah. With the sincere intention right now, we can leave this prayer hall with our book of deeds like the baby when he's born. But there's a condition. The condition is to ask Him now to forgive everything in that book that's wrong. And to intend now to take Ibrahim as Uswatul Hasan. And to take Hajar as Uswatul Hasan. Ibrahim وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. He and his wife and his son You want an example and you're a 13-year-old young man? You have Ismail when he was 13. You want an example and you're a mother who's pregnant or just had a baby? You have Hajar. You want an example and you're a young man who's 17 or 18? You have Ibrahim when he was thrown into the fire. You want an example and you want to know what a woman would do when she's a young woman and she's being sought by a powerful man and she's trying to protect her chastity? You have Sarah when she was 30 years old and the Egyptian king tried to take her. All of these are the examples from his life. And if you want to live your life for him, be ready and willing and intend now for him, Allah. Be ready and willing and intend now that our life is a service to our people. Our life is a service to our people for the sake of this message. Our life is to give for this message with patience and persistence. The results are upon the wakil. The results are not ours. What's ours is the action. What's ours is the belief and the action. And the results are upon the trustee. And when the trustee decides and sees that we're doing our part, he will bring the results. And no matter what impact on our lives that patience and sacrifice may bring, we trust that Allah, even though it looks like it may take away some wealth, or may take away a promotion, Allah will replace you with better, because you trust and give Him the keys to your life. So no longer will we accept that I don't have an open door. People view me a certain way. People view people of my faith a certain way. No. I am moving forward like Ibrahim without shyness, without fear, without hesitation. That what I have, as I trust in Allah and study what He's given me, what I have will save all of these fears, even though they're all afraid of it because they don't know. What I have will bring hearts closer because I will bring my heart closer to them. What I have, if Ibrahim had the open opportunity that we have, he would not relent until this entire city and everyone in it knew the message of God, saw the impact of it in their lives, and was willing to be rallying behind us with them. This is Uswatun Hasanah. And I ask Allah the High and Exalted that we follow in the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam. That He accept all the deeds we did in the 10 days, and all the deeds we'll do forward, and that we don't leave this prayer hall except with all our deeds being forgiven. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I know that He is the one, we trust Him, we know that He's the one who accepts all the prayers. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وبارك لنا يا ربنا فيما أعطيت اللهم وبارك لنا في أعمالنا واجعلنا نعمل أعمالا خالصة لك مخلصين لك الدين يا رب ولو كره الكافرون حنفاء لله أسوة حسنة نأخذ أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه سبحانك ربنا رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Eid Mubarak, Sa'id to all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your prayers and deeds. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.